Okay, testing audio. Should be starting soon. Okay, and now let me try everyone.
But am I only here?
Yeah, for now, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Okay.
But am I only here?
Yeah, for now, wait 1 second. Okay, you should be able to hear all of us. And there's actually Tedra here already. Let me tell her we're testing the sound.
Am I only here?
Oh, so wait, all our voices are being heard.
I think
Okay,
so.
and we're live, huh?
Hi guys, I just
Hello.
hear brother.
Hi. I thought Johnny was gonna comb her hair.
Who, me?
Yeah, your hair is combed?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hi, Tedra.
So I just realized my brother was signed in on my thing. Is it okay if I go back out and come back in, or is it
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
okay? All right.
Well, I kind of live now, so it's kind of too late to fix my hair. Should I go and fix my
Oh,
hair?
Why not?
Okay. Let me. Yeah, had to shave me up, so.
This name wine and chat, and not one of you have a glass of wine.
It's true.
I have a glass. Okay,
All right.
where is your glass?
It's right here, as
Be
always,
right back.
Okay,
24/7.
very well, very well. So we're live. So hi guys.
Yes, we actually live.
Coming to you another week, another Sunday, adding some spice to your Sunday afternoon.
Is anybody actually listening to or watching our live?
uh,
3 people on thing. I don't
Four on Facebook.
Don't forget to share the link.
Let me go to Twitter.
Right, so just waiting on Janika to comb her hair and for Tedra to come back in. Oh my gosh. Sunday afternoons are for napping.
I was literally
I
sleeping.
agree. This is actually peak nap hour from 2 p.m. to around like 4:35.
Yeah, best time to sleep for the entire week.
Mm-hmm.
That sleep don't it's the best sleep you will ever get for the week. Like you wake up from that sleep and you feel drunk. Like
Okay. Let's see.
Something I was going to say. Oh, I was saying how I was doing last minute study because I had to.
Okay, you need to share. We need to retweet it on Twitter. Your live.
Yeah, we need to share the links so that people know that we got that.
um let me retweet. As per usual, drinking wine, talking some things.
I should get wine as well.
Oh well, the thing is called wine and chats. It would be great if you could join us.
Mm. So in the meantime, you 7 people who are viewing, feel free during the discussion to comment. We really appreciate Would appreciate that. It's not
Yeah.
just about us talking. We want to
It's
hear
meant
from
to be
you.
interactive.
Yeah, most of the
It's,
fun that we have is really from like talking with everybody. It's kind of like a
yeah,
group
yeah. It makes it
discussion.
quite fun to be able to get like people, commenting on what we're saying or what the guests saying.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, and we don't ignore comments. We address all of them. So we're waiting on Janika to finish combing her hair and for Tedra to come back into the call.
Another thing too, we changed platforms because we realized that this would probably be like the most, like the best way to continue with this even after COVID. But one thing that
Yeah.
we miss is the when we were on Instagram, like we could easily see like everybody's comments, and everybody felt like inclined or like they could express themselves. But for some
Yeah,
reason,
because it was a little bit more informal, I guess.
yeah, I guess that's why.
Yeah. And with this platform I guess it seems a little bit more I guess it could restrict people from wanting to, just drop a quick comment.
But at the same time, we still trying to keep it, like
Yeah, so
visible
you could
for
still
everybody.
message in real time. We would see it in real time,
And answer.
respond in real time. Well, Janika, your hair's taking really long to
And it
comb.
don't look much different, So don't like don't roast me when you see me take this long and I reach back and it looks like not much different. But it's natural hair thing takes time.
Yeah, so can't wait to talk to Tedra. Tedra should be a great guest because she had a show on I don't know if y'all know, she used to be on Hot 97 on Sunday mornings for
Oh,
this
for
show.
real?
Yeah,
Yeah, Tedra used to be on the radio.
I
she
didn't
had her
know
own
that.
segment. She had her own segment called Woman is Boss.
Oh my gosh.
If I remember correctly, it was woman is boss or something like that. Oh, hi Tedra.
Oh man, the process of waiting for y'all to approve
Oh,
that list.
sorry. That was
Oh my
my
It
god.
was
bad.
Janika.
It
It
was
was
my
Janika
bad.
because she was
I
combing her
mean,
hair.
I think that wait is longer than income tax line. Or
Anything
y'all
longer
good.
than that?
Good. We
Wait.
were
So,
just saying how you were on Hot 97 at one point. You had a segment, and I think it was called Woman is Boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good Sunday morning segment. Janika didn't know.
Thank
no,
you.
I didn't know. I really didn't know. I noticed like from the last couple Instagram lives that we had that you were commenting on. I was like, who is this lady? She's so dynamic. Like I could feel it from your comments. But it's nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you. I'm the only one of the three I think that don't actually know you. So
Likewise, although I've been watching I've seen bits of your journey through skipping through Europe with Jamisha on those vacations. And I know
oh,
you're like a boss. I think the COVID app that you did, props to that.
thank you. Thanks.
That was major, major.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Oh, Tedra, what
Janika's
we drinking?
the famous
I see a
soul.
glass.
It's not wine though, I'll admit.
Oh, that
That's
looks
That's
fine.
fine.
That's
good.
fine.
It looks good though.
Thank you, thank you.
So Tedra, tell
Yes,
us.
please.
Let's just jump right into it. So you're a Chevron scholar, right? I'm
Right.
pretty sure you're a Chevron scholar. But what inspired you to get involved in teaching, education, working with children?
Well, if you ask a cousin of mine, the first thing he's gonna tell you is that Tedra was always going to end up in something where she talks because she likes to talk. That would be his first thing. But I admit, for me, it wasn't so much of a what, but a who.
Okay.
Ah.
So for me, my educational journey has been dotted with teachers and people who really have huge influence on how I approach life, my thinking, and that need to just connect with people and get a sense of reward that honestly I don't think a regular 9 to 5 can give to me. So it was really the who, and there are specific teachers that really carved out a major impact in my life. But especially at the college level, at the same SVGCC, I know Claire John. Heidi, I don't know if Miss John taught.
Yes, me.
Right. So Miss John was really, really influential in my journey.
Yeah.
To where I am as an educator. And it's quite ironic because at that time, Com Studies was 2 years. It was just introduced. And the very first year, that same Mrs. John put me on academic probation for communication studies. Because I was not doing my work. I was basically flunking. You get put on academic probation if you're flunking.
The Sheldon scholar was on academic probation.
You understand?
And there was one defining moment for me. At that time, parents were still very involved, and we used to have parents' day. And she asked that my father come in. So she had a conversation with my father about me and the way she spoke about my ability and what I can do, but the fact that I'm just, playing the fool.
Yeah.
I think that moment for me, seeing how invested she was in seeing me do better, was what really, boy, that just changed my entire outlook. And it's even more ironic that the communications lecturer put me on academic probation, and I ended up going to uni to study communication studies, and now I'm teaching communication studies.
Wow.
Full circle.
That's crazy.
It was her, honestly. It was her, because I went through school thinking I'd end up doing something else. But it was the way she approached teaching, and she just made it so vibrant and interesting, and a connection that she had with us that just seemed really genuine.
Yeah.
So for me, excuse me, don't worry, it's a regular call.
yeah, to check these days.
Yeah. Like, what's that?
So that for me was a very defining moment. And it's no today, Mrs. John and I are extremely close, and she was a part of my achieving journey. She was a part of my uni journey, leaving from where I was in England to go visit her to have tea or do something like that.
Oh, wow.
You can never really underestimate the impact that a teacher has on your life in terms of where you're going to end up. She wasn't the only one, but she was definitely one that cemented a place for me and really made me realize teachers don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
No, wait, I have to drink to that.
Let me get my glass. I'll be back.
Because it's not a situation where you just get money, Some people have jobs where they're going to work 9 to 5, they do what they do, they get paid, and that's the only investment they make. But then you end up in a profession like teaching, and you realize so much of the investment is also personal and emotional, and that ability to connect to people.
Yeah.
So that, plus the fact that I like to talk, it seemed like a natural progression.
Just on what you said there about, teachers should be paid more, because I think the majority of them are really invested in their students, like not just their academics but in their personal lives. And I was watching the interview that the Minister of Education, Chief Education Officer and Permanent Secretary gave on VC3, and they were saying that their teachers now with COVID, who are like going to students' homes to give them notes and worksheets, actually going and seeking them out and be like, are you okay? Here is some work. So yeah, I 100% agree. I don't think that we give teachers enough credit sometimes.
Definitely. I mean, from my end, as a matter of fact, the reason why I wasn't on this call at 2 o'clock exact is because a student wanted some help with an SBA. And I said, okay, we'll have a quick call to go through something. And that quick call turned into over half an hour of being on the phone with this student of going through, okay, these are the changes. If they want to make something, consider A, B, C before you make that decision. It's a lot of time that you invest, and especially because now you don't have that face-to-face contact.
Yeah.
You have to make yourself available even more.
Yeah.
So in a case where students could have visited me during office hours or send me an email, now they have my WhatsApp number. Now I tell them it doesn't matter what time of day, message me, I will respond. So yeah, Sunday afternoon, it should be lunchtime, I should be eating, and I'm on the phone for half an hour going through an SBA.
So, hearing from you like this, it really, takes away from the narrative that teachers, they live in the best lives, they go to work from 8 to 3, and then they have all the vacations off. But really and truly, teaching doesn't stop. It's like you have 30 children of your own.
It doesn't, and that's the thing, because people think it's really a 9 to 3 job, and they look at this long summer vacation and they don't realize it's not even that long summer vacation can really make up for the investment that a lot of teachers put in. Because you don't just show up to class and teach. You have to prepare your material. You have to prepare methods of assessment. You have to do these. You don't only, it's one of those professions where you're not only a teacher or an educator. You end up at the end of the day being a counselor, a friend, judge and jury sometimes. So many things that really go into it that I don't think a lot of people really realize.
Yeah.
Because in the summer, your brain, you want to rest, and on the weekend you want to rest, but you're thinking of what's the other assignment I'm going to give.
Yeah.
And it takes time to put these things together.
Yeah.
I mean, just recently I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning putting a test together, and at the end of the test, a couple of the kids were like, "Miss, you had 2 questions repeated in the thing." I was like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, Miss." I was like, "I'm sorry, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, at that point, I'll admit that's a bit fadey."
Yeah.
+1, so you should thank me for the 2 o'clock time, because at least you got a +1. But I mean, there's a lot of time not spent in a classroom that people don't consider.
Definitely. And I think if you try as a teacher to not prepare, or you try to skip out on that, everybody notices. Like, it's obvious, so it's not something that you could opt out of. You have to prepare, otherwise what are you going to teach?
Yeah, because what you do, you're not just, you decide to be lazy. What your decision to be lazy doesn't only impact you. There and the tests are standardized. So if I have 50 students and a lecturer has 50 students and they're working hard and I'm being lazy, at the end of the day, they get the same exam.
Yeah.
So it's not fair to the students who come to school. Granted, not all of them come to school and give their best. I mean, you have to believe that they want to do their best.
So with COVID, schools closed, e-learning became more prominent. What has your experience been, with the emergence of COVID?
With COVID-19, to be honest, it wasn't that big of a change for me, because where I work, the institution already has an e-learning platform.
Okay.
And management has always encouraged us to use it regularly. So for my students, it really wasn't that big of a shift, because already they know they don't submit assignments to me in hand. It's done via e-learning. All your research papers and stuff like that, e-learning. So at least for my students, they would have been familiar with the platform by now. because at the start of semester 1, I tell you straight up, don't give me anything in paper. I don't have storage. Submit it on e-learning. So it wasn't too much of a change in terms of having to get familiar because it's a platform I'm accustomed to. However, moving from using it occasionally for assignments to using it fully was a huge change. And I think everybody needed to adjust to that, especially because we do not necessarily have the easiest platform to understand. I mean, it's quite easy when you get it, but it may not be the most user-friendly, especially for people who are not very much into technology. So, I mean, at least the kids showed up to class. I can think of literally a couple students who never showed up, who have never been able to contact since COVID.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on with those couple of students.
Wow.
No email contact, never showed up to a class. And that just says something to me that I don't know if it shows that they're not willing to participate, but knowing the students in class, I have a feeling it's not that they don't want to participate, but they don't have the means. So while the majority has showed up, and to be honest, they try to keep it very normal, in the middle of my online class, especially for this one particular group, you would hear a student say, Miss, can you excuse me to go to the bathroom, please? Or Miss, I'm going to talk shop, you want anything? So, and I mean, my exchanges with them is usually very lighthearted. I'm like, if you're going to talk shop, bring me back something, because we try to keep it as normal as possible because it's a change for everybody involved. However, that is just me. I know that there are other people who have challenges in moving online because they're not as familiar with the technology or the platforms themselves to use. And kids have, not everyone has access to a computer, to a tablet, to internet. So
and somebody was explaining to me too that in some of the cases it's not necessarily that they didn't have access before, but because they're now in a household where every single person needs it to do what they're doing on a daily basis, it was never set up like that. And somebody, maybe the mother or the father, has priority, and now they no longer have access to the computer. I never thought about it like that actually until somebody pointed it out to me.
I mean, I can imagine, because we're not on the same economic platform. Not everyone makes how much ever a month. Some households literally don't know where they're getting their next paycheck from. So you have one device, and it's hard. What I tried to do is to stick to the lecture times that we had face to face. So if I had a class 10 to 12 on Monday, that's when you're going to need to find that tablet, because it's the same time that you're accustomed to. I think one of the issues, you have to wonder if we can really get away from that in terms of ensuring everyone has access to a device. That would require a lot of research, understanding students' home situation, because you put internet on and we still don't know if parents are going to be able to maintain that internet bill at the end of every month. Food might be a priority over internet. So then that leaves us to really try and figure out how best we can ensure that that gap is minimized. I think people who tend to believe, it's so easy, the government can do this and the government can do that. Realistically, there are a lot of variables involved. But I still think it's something that we can definitely work towards.
Well, I mean, I think the initiatives on the part of the Ministry of Education in particular have been quite commendable. Trying to get every child with a device, having zero-rated content, of where you can access the zero-rated content. You don't have to worry about data, Wi-Fi, or anything like that. So I think those are commendable initiatives. But as you said, it can't happen overnight. So are you at all concerned about, your students possibly falling behind?
I'm worried about a few of them. as I said, I haven't been able to get in touch with them at all.
Yeah.
Apart from those few, because it's such a small number that I know who they are. But apart from those, of course, there is always that concern as a lecturer that you're going out there, you're on your Zoom or your whatever, your lectures are being recorded, and you know they can access the information when they want. However, a lot of them are not disciplined enough to follow through. So you do wonder, are they falling behind? But what I realize as well is that this is a period of discovery for everybody involved. For lecturers, for students. This past week, I got the most surprising email ever. That a student who is usually, there's that one student in the class who always cracks the jokes and is always most distracting. That student emailed me to say they realize they're doing better working from home.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Without the distractions, no jokes to crack.
The last person I would expect to get an email from, because occasionally I email them to ask, how are you doing? Sometimes it's not necessarily to send an email for work, but just to know how they're doing. And the student said, Miss, I am fine. But surprisingly, I realize I'm working better from home.
Yep.
So there is that period of discovery for everybody involved, because this person is accustomed to being the attraction in the class. And when you take away that classroom setting, the student is realizing that they are functioning better, that what they do in class actually hinders them, and that they can actually do the work. So that was a bit surprising. And I was really glad to see that. But you can't help but wonder who's falling behind. What is good, though, is that with the switch online, we have ways of measuring that, so that we are accountable to ourselves, but also the students are accountable by doing the work, by taking the quizzes, by answering on the forums and stuff like that. You can still track what they know, what they understand, and there is still that platform for them to ask, Miss, can you clarify this? One of the plus, though, is because now we can record our lectures, which they can't do, or which I should say, which doesn't happen in class. So at least now you can always go back to your email to listen to what was said if you don't understand.
Right.
And currently our lecture theaters, our classrooms are not set up to record in class. So you have that switch, which has really been a plus. I think the lesson in that is to integrate more, put the projectors in, put the recording devices in, so that students can continuously be able to go back and track what a lecturer said, view a PowerPoint and things like that. But in terms of their grades, so far, clearly not many of them are falling behind. So that's
really good. That's really good. I really like that you mentioned, that you touched on some of the positives, because in general, I find that a lot of the reporting and so forth on e-learning and distance and working from home in general has been negative in some ways. But there's also a lot of positives. Like, there are a lot of people or even companies, like I was reading an article about Twitter, where they decided employees can just work from home forever if they realize that that's what, and it's something that they never, before they were against it, because some engineering managers were saying no, this is not something that we can do. But now they were forced into doing it. They realized, well, hey, actually, this is working even better than when we're in the office. And I think it's something for us to think about even after the pandemic, how this digitalization of us working from home and learning from home has helped. And also accessibility, because we spoke a lot about how some people can't access it, but then you mentioned how you could actually go back to some recordings and so forth.
But I mean, that's the thing, though, because from a lecturer standpoint, those are some of the positives that I've experienced. However, I am the parent of a very small child who goes to school, and my experience is not as positive in that role. It's certainly not. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. The primary school response, and when I say primary school, I'm not blaming the individual schools, but that's where my son is, and it's a very frustrating experience.
Okay. What could you point specifically to what you think the issues at the primary level as a parent?
As a parent, I think it's a lack of direction.
Okay.
And I think in this case, I would have wanted the Ministry of Education to be offer more guidelines and have a set plan on how teachers can deliver their material, especially to smaller kids. Because as I expressed to another parent, I might be able to get my ideas across to my students, but these are mature individuals who can give me 2 hours out of their day online.
Yeah.
You know, with a 5-year-old, it's not that clear cut. I'm not versed in that area.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why people go and study early childhood development. Not everybody knows how to do it. And I might think, okay, I can just teach him this way and he'll understand, but I don't know if that would work. I don't know if that's the correct approach. I don't have that information. So I definitely think having a set guideline on how they deliver would be best. Different schools are doing different things. One primary school is actually having classes on Zoom. From my personal experience, my son's teachers have never gone live. Things that you're being directed to someone's Facebook page or a WhatsApp group. And for me, I don't think that that's sufficient. So I have experienced some frustrations when it comes to being a parent of a smaller child during this time.
Yeah.
But when there is a lack of a concrete policy and guidelines, it's left up to individual teachers to come up with their approach.
Yeah.
So in a case like this, can you really blame the teachers for not all of them are going above and beyond? And I can't blame them because I don't know what's the situation in their schools.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. And this is a general thing. If you worked in an organization or you have a boss where before the pandemic you felt appreciated, you felt included and all of that, during the pandemic you are likely to go above and beyond. Naturally. Right? I think a lack of effort may be an indication of something greater, which I can't necessarily pinpoint as A, B, or C. But employees anywhere across any industry would go above and beyond whenever they feel appreciated. And if they don't feel appreciated, they're going to do bare minimum. And I think we're seeing that in teaching and outside of that during this COVID time. And the ones who go above and beyond are either going because they absolutely love what they do, or they feel appreciated and they understand the weight of their work. But if employees don't feel like that, they're not going to give 110%. That's just how it is. And it's easier to give less than that when you're not going in every day.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Of course, it shows up the issue of people being in a profession just for receiving a paycheck. If you don't have that, like you said, you don't have the love for the children, for the job, then you're just going to be like, oh, well, you know, we don't have to go, so it's fine, whatever.
Exactly.
On the other hand, I mean, there being different levels of teachers, I am wondering if some of the teachers aren't in the same position as some of the children where they just can't afford certain things. They don't have the
that's the thing.
They don't have internet. So, I mean, it's easy to place blame in a situation like this. But like you said in the beginning, there's so many variables, and it's not a quick fix. It's not an easy fix. But now that we have this opportunity, we can really see where our shortcomings are, what can be done, who needs what. I mean,
Yeah.
This is a marathon.